What is the weirdest thing you've heard or had happen to you while using a public restroom? NSFW. I was pooping and let out a really violent fart and someone outside said bet that burned and he sounded like Larry the Cable Guy. When I was younger, high school age, I had been constipated for a few days. I got the urge while I was in the mall and went to the bathroom. It was empty when I got there and was having a rough time pushing this meteorite out. Then I hear some people walk in, a man and a woman talking, and they started making out. Now I was a pretty shy kid, so I tried hard not to make noise and be noticed. Next thing I know I can see through the crack in the stall that the girl is taking off her pants. I guess it escalated to the point where I was getting nervous, which caused the giant that I was trying to take to rock it out. They of course noticed, and she says oh it's someone's in here, then they rushed out. I walked into a public bathroom at a beach and found a big bearded guy nervously staring at the ceiling above the stall while using the only urinal. As I stepped past him toward the stall, he screamed stop. Since his hands were full of D, he could only gesture upward with his head. I looked up and saw a very large pigeon sitting in a nest in the corner, with a super thick Slavic dialect. Bearded guy says, "Never trust a mother bird." He washed his hands, still staring at the nest, and backed out of the bathroom. Someone was taking it and eating and talking on the phone. I was disgusted and impressed with the multitasking. I went into a Target to take a pee. After relieving myself, it was a photo finish. I turned to wash my hands. In the sink, there was a goldfish in a plastic bag. Now, Target doesn't sell fish, so it was kinda odd to say the least. I could tell there was a person in one of the stalls, concerned that this goldfish had been abandoned. I nervously asked the dude in the stall if this was his fish in the sink. A deep ass voice boomed back at me. "What?" I repeated my question. "Is this your fish in the sink?" There was a long pause, as if the Target pooper was trying to understand my question. He finally replied, "Nah, man, that ain't my fish." So I took it home. Had to buy a whole setup, tank and filter, etc. And that's the story of how I rescued a goldfish from the Target bathroom. Edit. Thank you for the gold. If this resonated with you, don't think I'm special. Just go out and make a difference. When I was a kid, my parents worked in a university as professors and I would go to their offices after school until they finished work and we would go home. Importantly, the men's and women's bathrooms were right next to each other, and they had the type of ceilings which are tiles resting on a grid type metal grid. One day, I was about 10 years old. I went to the bathroom. I was sitting on the toilet in the stall and for some reason looked up. Directly over my head, there was a guy looking down at me. He had climbed up from the men's side, removed the ceiling tiles, and was peeping at the female college students as they went to the bathroom. Apparently I was the first person that looked up. Someone thanking Jesus out loud after every splash. Not necessarily a public restroom. I worked at a financial company with over 2,000 people in one office. There are around 10 different bathrooms in the building, all with multiple stalls urinals. Anyway, I was on my break and ran to the bathroom to relieve myself. I saw someone in one of the stalls because feet and doors were closed. As I walk up to the urinal, I hear the guy sneeze. I say bless you like people do for some reason. Guy in the stall hits me back with, "That wasn't a sneeze. I just left and went to a different bathroom." Was pissing at a urinal and the guy next to me said don't judge me. I'm a grower not a shower. I mostly ignored him. Then he asked me if I wanted to buy some weed from him. But before I could answer, which would have been no, he said well it isn't real weed. It's fake weed. Doesn't actually get you high. It's what I smoke when I'm practicing guitar. Keep it weird, Austin. I was out drinking one evening. Went to go to the bathroom and there were 3 ladies blocking the guy's bathroom. They told me I couldn't go in. It was the only bathroom in the place and I had to piss bad. I waited about 20 seconds then pushed past them. As I walk in there is one dude at the end of the line of urinals with his D out not facing a urinal. He's giving it a pep talk saying things like come on bud you can do it and don't let me down again. I take quite a long piss and he keeps talking to his dong the entire time. I exited the restroom and told my buddy what happened. He had to see it for himself so he went to the restroom. Same girls outside trying to stop him and same dude in there still trying to sweet talk his wang into doing something. Edit. Lots of speculation about this man D going on around here. Edit. For everyone saying shy bladder, I'm not sure how facing the entrance with your D in hand and talking it is going to help. Every stall was open. Just go squat. My under 18 self stopped at a public park restroom to take a piss. A guy perhaps in his mid 60s sidled up to me, smiled, and looked my junk up and down in the urinal. I left. I was in a stall at work browsing Reddit after using the toilet and just killing time until my break was over, when what can I only tell was a somewhat older man shuffling his way over to the stall next to mine. He then lets out a thunderous fart and sits on the toilet and moans out, "Oh dear god, it's the end of days." I immediately put myself together and left that restroom before I heard any more. My sister always believed in the importance of teaching her son, even from a young age, to use the correct terminology for genitalia. There was no "that's your PP" or "those are your privates." It was always "that is your D." So the day before Christmas Eve we are doing some last minute shopping. My nephew was mostly potty trained at this time, but still wore a diaper just in case. She goes off to do some shopping and I take him to the washroom for a change as he has had an accident. As I'm wiping him clean, he screams bloody murder in a washroom full of people. "Auntie, don't touch my D." I was ducking mortified, worrying that people are thinking I'm molesting him. So I say loudly, yet kindly, "We have to make sure you're clean." I've never been so embarrassed in my life walking out of that stall. And to top it off, I was like 19 but definitely looked younger. TLDR. My nephew screamed at me not to touch his D in a very busy mall bathroom the day before Christmas Eve. Meth head in a Toronto second cup bathroom warned me that dolphins are not to be trusted and told me about how they're mind controlling humans while I peed. It's not very weird, but the first week I had moved to New Jersey from California I was in a bathroom and I heard two ladies speaking Spanish, but it was so different. They were speaking Spanish in a NJ accent and it confused the hell out of me. Worked for a really large company and decided to use the restroom near the boardroom, more private. When I walked in, one of our board members is at a urinal wearing a suit and jacket, with his pants and undies dropped all the way to the ground. Apparently that is how this 70-year-old man has peed his entire life. Just odd. Edit. Crazy, this story is my highest upvote. More impressed many of you have had similar run-ins. Was using the urinal in the Port Authority men's room when some random guy walks up behind me and says, in a raspy voice, "Hey kid, I like your hair." Still peeing, I turn around and say thanks. And he says, "You like pineapple?" Caught off guard I ask, "What? Pineapple?" At this point I'm zipping my pants back up and starting to turn around to face him. He then points to underneath the wall of the first bathroom stall to a black plastic bag, like one from the liquor store, and says, "Yeah, you wanna buy one?" I got one right there, oh so it's delicious. Sure enough, there's a black plastic bag with a pineapple sticking out of it on the floor of the Port Authority men's room. I told him I was allergic to pineapple. He seemed shocked and, quite frankly, really sad that I couldn't eat his delicious pineapple, and we parted ways. Okay, gay bar, me, a lesbian, goes looking for the women's bathroom. No luck. Directions unclear, not my language. Okay, men's restroom it is. Half dozen urinals in front of half dozen stalls. First stall, no door. Second stall, broken door. Third stall, dirty F, and so on, until I find one that closes, but does not lock. Who cares? Men here don't care for my junk. Time to pee, and I can hold the door with my hand. Middle of my business. 2 pints of beer leaving my body. Someone yanks the door open, and here it is. A 6'3" huge man, muscle and fat, dressed up as a Valkyrie, helmet, horns, sword, but with a L'Oreal granny nightgown underneath, and just stops and stares at me. And I'm there, pissing and staring open-mouthed at this giant. I don't even know what. As soon as the pee stops, he just says, "Well, you done?" I nod. Wipe and guys. He already was sitting down on the toilet as I was yanking my pants up, and he told me to close the stall door as I went out. I was driving between Houston and Austin and stopped at a gas station to go pee. I do my business and start washing my hands when I looked up and saw a man covered head to toe in burn marks staring at me from a stall. I didn't hear or see anyone when I went inside, so I literally jumped and ran out of there. I still feel bad about it, but I like to tell myself it was a ghost so I don't feel like such an asshole. I was in the bathroom of a movie theater peeing in a urinal when I felt something tug on my shirt. I turned around and there was this little kid, had to be younger than 5. He asked if I could hold him up so he can pee in the urinal next. We are the only ones in this bathroom and I'm peeing hard because I just got out of a movie. I had such a dad moment though because I said ask your mom. He said okay and skipped out of the bathroom. I didn't even wash my hands. I just wanted to be out of there before a Dateline camera crew showed up. Not me, but it happened to my son. He was about 4 maybe 5 at the time. We were on vacation in San Francisco, CA. We were on Fisherman's Wharf and my son and I went in to use the restroom. It was cool and rainy day and the tile floors were wet. We go in a stall so he could pee as all the urinals were taller than him. So he drops trow and hikes up his shirt and jacket and saddles up to the toilet and he starts peeing. Well, he is on his tippy toes and all of a sudden he is head first in the toilet. He slipped and nose dived into the toilet. He was soaked head to waist. I get him out of the toilet. I'm struggling so hard trying not to laugh. I get him out and strip his shirt and jacket off of him and just put them in the trash and wash and dry him off. Take my jacket and put it on him. He's crying and I'm dying from laughter inside. We get out of the bathroom and head to the nearest store and get him a new shirt and jacket. Then find my wife and daughter, who both proceeded to ask why he was in all new clothes. Then once I tell them, they start laughing. He still hates when I bring up the time he fell into the toilet at Fisherman's Wharf. Edit. Wow, thank you everyone for the ups and awards. Once upon a time I was in Europe and accidentally locked myself inside of a stall that had a toilet I couldn't figure out how to flush, and then a door I couldn't figure out how to open. I had to climb over the stalls because the gap wasn't big enough below. So I'm making my great escape and some dude walks up to the stall and I make a small noise. He looks up and I just hope he has forgotten it by now. I was at a goth club and I was nauseous because I drank too many gin and tonics. So I went to the bathroom to take a shit. My stomach hurt so I was rubbing my belly like a cartoon character as I waited for a stall to open. A gay Asian guy in bondage gear, not odd for the location, walked up to me and said, "Oh honey, stomach ulcers?" and gave me a hug and patted my back. I didn't have a stomach ulcer, but I was very compelled to hug back because I appreciated the sympathy. He then walked off without saying anything else. Seemed like a good guy. I had the pleasure of hearing some poor soul trying to pass a kidney stone in a movie theater restroom. His screams would have scared the shit out of me if that wasn't why I was in there in the first place. I walked into the bathroom at a hospital food court. Was in dire need to relieve myself. As I walked in, I heard some thumping from one of the stalls, like someone was gently pounding on the stall walls. Then I saw 2 pairs of shoes, one in front of the other, under the closed stall door. Due to my need to empty my bladder, I decided to ignore what I saw and took care of business. As I was walking out, the stall door opened, and one of the food court employees came out, alone. He had been changing into his uniform on his way to work, including his shoes. I actually had thought it was 2 guys having sex in the stall. He must had thought I was crazy as I walked out of the bathroom laughing hysterically at myself. I walked into a public bathroom just as my friend started calling me. I pull out my phone and say, "What's up man?" and hear a strange voice behind the stall go, "Just taking a shit." I said my friend's name several times, trying to hint to the dude taking a shit that I'm not talking to him. Instead, the dude in the bathroom keeps insisting that that's not his name. I left without taking a piss. Edit. Grammar. Some guy in the Seattle Greyhound station OD'd in the women's bathroom and I had to call 911. The paramedics moved him to the lobby where he died while we were waiting for our bus. I was 16. My parents taught me about puberty and sex long before I should have, and corrupted me from a very young age. When I was 6 years old, my friend and I entered a public bathroom at a pizza place, and she said, "Hey, that weirdo 04. Do you want to go in the same stall as me? And me, wanting to come up with a solid excuse to not go into the bathroom with her, said no. Our boobies are almost full grown. Don't ask my why I said that. I was 6. The woman who was behind us in line started cracking up so loudly that she couldn't control herself and ran out of the bathroom laughing. One time, I was taking a piss at a music venue, and this dude came up next to me taking a mean piss. With a loud audible sigh of relief, he looked at me and said, "The only thing that makes you moan more than coming is a good piss, am I right?" Followed by, "I'm glad you laughed. I rarely tell that joke cause I've gotten my ass kicked a few times from it, but the 7/10 times it went good makes it worth it. Guess he must really like his odds." I was in a public bathroom and needed to change my tampon, and of course the packaging is loud AF. There was a mom and daughter in the stall next to me, and the little girl very loudly said, "Mom, she has snacks in there, can you ask her if I can have some snacks?"